Hello and welcome. Welcome to Harnessing Happiness, even with myself, Sarah Naylor. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I have a fabulous guest with me. A fabulous guest. And I think she got the memo because her jumper's yellow and it accents the top of my jumper beautifully.
Yeah, it's a color of
Um,
happiness.
yeah. And I'm going to hand over to Christine to actually introduce herself because, as regular listeners will know, my guests do a far better job of introducing themselves than I ever will do. So, Christine, please do introduce yourself to my awesome audience.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Sarah. Lovely
Oh,
to be here. Lovely talking about happiness because I think I'm quite a happy person in general. I try to at least. There's also bad days, but that's okay. We're all humans. So I'm Christine. I'm originally from Germany. I'm now based in the Netherlands, but I've lived all over. I've lived in the UK, in Sweden, in Italy, obviously in Germany, where I'm from, and now I'm based in the Netherlands. I have two businesses. One is supporting entrepreneurs and startups, and one is giving internal communication training to bigger organizations. And that's what I'm all about. Okay, communication. A lot of challenges come from that, and issues, and a lot of solutions. And I try to spread happiness in the world as much as I can with smiles, words, but also a lot of actions. Yeah, more or less that's me, let's say.
brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. And actually, it was through sort of online networking that we met because obviously we've never met in person. I'm
Yes.
here in the UK. I mean, oh my gosh, you're so well traveled. But we connected that way. And I've been delighted actually to be featured a couple of times in Christine's Entrepreneur Spirit magazine, which is amazing. In fact, please do share a bit more about the magazine and let's sort of dig in and talk about what you've done in your journey and yeah, happiness. Let's inspire the listeners, Christine, as to
Yes.
how you got to where you are and obviously your magazine and your book, because there's lots of stuff that you've done. As you've said, it's all about communication and really raising vibrational frequency and helping people on their journey, which is exactly what you do, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it is. So, like you said, I have a magazine. It's called #Entrepreneur Spirit, and that's basically picking up a topic every month, talking about something that's interesting for entrepreneurs. And
Mhm.
like you said, you were featured also in a couple of those. So thank you for your contribution.
Thank
Very
you for inviting me.
And like you mentioned, I wrote books. Yes, I wrote about, I don't know, it's more than 20 by now. But they're all about starting business marketing, but health and well-being, where happiness goes in as well. So there's a book called The Happiness Formula, A Happiness Diary, Balance Your Business. It's about a lot of these. I also wrote one that's called The Art of Weirdness. So embracing your weirdo, your inner weirdo, and just be yourself where you can be, which is really important to me. And my active search for happiness, let's say, really started now quite a few years back. The years go by so fast. I don't know.
Tell me
Time is
about it.
flying by. Um, where so just to go back a bit further, I for more than half of my life I have the condition of tinnitus, that ringing in my ears. And a few years back, which was like almost 20 years after it started, I went back to a doctor. That was back in the UK.
Mhm.
Um, because I've done back in the days when I was 19, when it all started, I've done all kind of treatments that they had, oxygen treatments, injections, and oh, it was horrible and nothing worked. However, so I thought maybe 20 years on, there's some new stuff. So I went to an ear, nose, throat, ENT doctor, and he said, well, just to make sure, we're gonna do a scan of your head, just to make sure there's nothing wrong. He did. I came back to get the results, and he said, "Oh, good news. There's nothing wrong with your ears." And then he said, "Oh, but you have a brain tumor." And I was like, "What?" And
Oh my
he said it
gosh.
like that. It wasn't a good delivery, I would say. And then in the
No.
next, oh, I can't tell you
Oh,
anymore
the
because
good news is,
yeah,
excuse me.
yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, I can't tell you anymore because it's not my field." And I was like, "Well." And I didn't understand really the words he was saying. He was using a lot of medical Latin stuff that I probably even not would have understood in German. So I asked him to write everything down. I Googled it, which you should never do because it was just basically saying I'm dying. So I had to do a lot of tests and scans over the 3 months after that, which were not very nice, I have to say, because I don't like if they take blood from me. I don't like going into like confined spaces for scans and stuff. Anyway, did that. And that doctor then said, well, good news. I don't know why they always start with that. Well, you don't have a brain tumor, so you can just forget about what what you just what we said. And I was like, what? Well, it was 3 months going through that.
Oh my
The
God, Christine.
see what's happening. So that obviously shook my world a bit,
Mm.
even though
Christine.
back in the day I didn't want to admit to that. I'm very good at putting things away, not thinking
Mhm.
about stuff. I was just getting on with my work. I was working particularly long hours. So I was really, and then that came. So I was really close to a burnout. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go there, because if you are in real burnout, it's difficult to come back and you really suffer and be out for a few months.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, let's take a break and see what I need to do. And this is how it all started as well. Questioning what makes me happy, what's happiness, how I can make other people happy, which was always there. And I think we all want to be happy, and we all go on our journeys to find happiness and what that means for us.
Mhm.
But that was really the moment where I thought, okay, let's see for myself and start creating also that work-life balance for
Yes.
myself that I did not have.
Yeah. Wow. I'm not surprised. I mean, sort of talk about a catalyst, but putting you through all of that, that's just
Mhm.
insane. Absolutely
Yeah.
insane. But
Yeah.
it obviously propelled you, like you said, on that journey to be curious, to ask questions, and that is so important, folks, that to actually do that, to
Yes.
question, to look at options, to see things from a different perspective, to take the learning, to move forward. And absolutely, well, happiness, surely, I mean, to me, that's my sort of raison d'etre. I don't know if I've even pronounced that properly. You'll probably tell me. Christine's far more of a language expert than I am. But your reason for being. And because if you've not got happiness, what have you got? Because ultimately, I mean, I've never been a materialistic person myself, but it's about doing the things that bring you joy. And I love what you said about one of your books. It's, that connecting with your weirdness. Oh, well, I definitely do that, and it's finding the things that make you tick, not doing what the things that people say
Yeah.
you should be doing, but we're all unique individuals, aren't we? So it's about what works for you. And what works
Yes.
for you might be different for somebody else. It might be on a similar sort of balance. And then it's about finding your tribe. It's about being around people that kind of get you and doing what you do for the greater good. But the,
Mhm.
the greater good, not you as an egotistical person at all or anything like that. It's about how you serve, isn't it? How you serve, how you live your life on purpose. And doing that, you fulfill your
Yeah,
potential.
but also for yourself, I would say. I don't
Mm.
think because you need to be happy for yourself before you can spread that happiness. Because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
like the unhappiest person,
Mm.
then that might be difficult. But a smile and happiness and all these, let's say, positive things, they're
Yeah.
very contagious. So if
Mm.
you're happy, other people can be happy. If the people around you give you the right energy and are happy, you will be happy. I mean, there's this Ubuntu principle where it's like I am because you are.
Mhm.
It goes exactly that. So if everyone around me is really sad and not enjoying life and it's just really negative, then it will be very difficult for me to stay positive. And
Mhm.
we that. And it's also about mm, getting rid is maybe a bit harsh, but don't have people in your life anymore that drain your energies and that not make you happy. Relationships, and that might be in all kind of ways. That might
Mhm.
be colleagues, clients,
Mhm.
partners,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Even family is a bit difficult, of course, but you can distance yourself. And I think you have to, if you want to be happy and also make other people happy.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely spot on. And it's about identifying what makes you happy. And as you say, when you're happy, you radiate that out. And then when you're radiating that out, you'll attract that back in. So therefore you are around those people. But I've absolutely been in those situations, all of those that you've mentioned, from like a work scenario that I'd been with the same company for many, many years, but the energy changed. There was some stuff going on, and as upbeat as I am, I used to go in and I could feel it pulling me down, and you just can't stay in that energy. And I've had personal situations and relationships, very, very close to home, that I've had to have that no contact because you've got somebody that's really toxic and pulling you down and telling you how you should and shouldn't be living your life. You can't live like that either. You've It's about your vibrational frequency and how you think, speak, act, and internally, externally behave, respond. It impacts your subconscious, and that's what you then how your body physically responds as well. So crikey, so you've kind of gone on a massive, massive journey through all
Mhm.
of this, haven't you? I mean,
Yeah,
crikey. Crikey. So how long have you been on your
yeah.
personal development journey, Christine? What's that taken you into doing? You know,
I think, I mean, I always was someone who was working on my personal development, but
mm,
specifically on that topic, probably now almost 10 years,
mhm,
probably. And it is a journey. It's not a destination, really. And I would like to pick up on one thing, because you mentioned also doing things that bring you joy, and that is very true. Um, However, I would like to make the difference between happiness and joy, because they are different things.
mhm.
They evoke the emotions,
Yes.
positive emotions, let's say, and they help you to release the specific chemicals in your body, and etc., etc. And doing moments of joy will for sure feed your happiness. But what I want people to understand is that happiness is like the baseline. So you can be a happy person even if you're sad, because if you're happy with your life and yourself and everything, it doesn't mean you have to smile or just have good days all the time. These are the moments of joy.
Mhm,
They're more like shorter periods and experience that you have. But happiness is like a basic feeling, a basic state that you're in. And
mhm.
you can be a very happy person, even if you're having a bad day, if you're angry, because these are all emotions that we all go
Yeah.
through. And if you're sad and if something doesn't go well, it doesn't mean that you're not a happy person. It has a lot, maybe also to do with contentment and appreciation of things that you have and being grateful for things. So you can have that.
Mhm,
So don't think that person just because you're having a bad day or you feel sad, but for sure you're trying to create joyful moments to feed that. But
mhm.
just to understand that, but because sometimes people think, oh, I'm really going through a tough time. I mean, I went and still going through some difficult things, um and they influence that, but I still would say I'm a very happy person in
Yes. Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, my 2023 was just a year of complete breakdowns left, right, and centre, financially, emotionally, personally, professionally, spiritually. The whole lot was ambushed at the same time. And yet I was still turning up because I am a happy person. But there's an acceptance. There was a level of frustration, but I think it's important to work your way through those emotions rather than block them. Because actually, if you let things flow, and actually surrendering is a great surrender. Oh my gosh. What a lesson I had in surrendering and trusting the process last year. It was like, oh my gosh. But it's so true. I will get isolated moments whereby, and the kind of positive person and upbeat person I am, but if things have just like got too much, and it doesn't happen very often, but I can observe myself having that sort of like, do you know what? I'm going to allow myself to wallow in this in this 24 hours of self-pity or whatever it is, because I know it will pass, because it's just the chemicals in your body sort of flowing through. And actually, if I sort of got anxious about it, it would make it worse, actually. But accepting it and allowing it to flow, it clears, because you know that you're going to kick yourself out of it within sort of 24, 48-hour period. But yeah, I think blocking any emotion is is the wrong, well, I mean, I don't want to tell anybody what to do, but I feel that when you block emotion, the energy gets stuck and then that causes other problems. Whereas if you allow it to flow naturally, it will pass through, I mean, we all have them, don't we? We all have those moments. And before we started to record, I was just saying to Christine, going, oh my gosh, I've had a manic week. I'm sure she probably thought,
Yes,
oh
yes.
my gosh, what's going on with Sarah today?
No, no, not at all. And that what you're saying, I mean, people, it's energy that people feel as well. So I was running a workshop yesterday as well, or co-facilitating, let's say.
Mhm,
Um, and the facilitator say, okay, because it was a lot about customers and empathizing with your customers and things like that. And he
mhm,
said, okay, let's take Christine and see what you would say about her. They don't know me at all. It was the first time they've met me. It was like 5 minutes into the workshop. All I've done was saying like 2 sentences to introduce myself. And they had to think about what I do on a daily basis, what kind of person I am, what I see, and things. And they were really spot on, I have to say. And one of the things were like, well, she seems like a very happy person. And I was jumping literally up and down, and I was like, yes, thank you.
brilliant.
So it's that energy that we give off, even if people don't know you,
Mhm,
to do that. And there's actually a lot of things that we can do. And you were talking about the chemicals in the body, that actually influence the state of mind and everything. And there's lots of things that we can do to actually harness the happiness, to infuse our life with happiness.
mhm.
And one thing is, like we said, okay, a community, having the sense of belonging is a
Yes.
very, very important things for happiness. Touching people, hugging people, the physical touch is absolutely important and releases chemicals in you. They need to be not just like a quick one, but like really, okay, also enjoy that. There's so many things that someone can do. I mean, you probably talked about this on your podcast already and people heard about it, but gratitude journals or
Yes.
gratitude jars where you write down what you're grateful for on that day. Um, and coming also back to the basics, and I don't mean you need to always write down, oh, I'm happy I'm alive, I'm happy I'm not ill. But sometimes also appreciating these things would be really good, going back to the basics. But
Mm,
once you do that, you look out, apologies, you look
mhm,
out for the good things
mhm.
that are happening, and we'll see more and more good things happening in your life, which makes you happier.
Exactly, exactly. And it's that brain training. It's that, as you say, it's if you start with those simple things. I mean, my partner and I, we're always looking at what we're appreciating, what we're grateful for. And if he makes me a drink, I go, oh, thanks for my coffee. I'll cook. He'll go, thank you for dinner. And then he'll clean up and I'll go, thank you for clearing away. And we're always showing and demonstrating appreciation. And that's just of
Mhm.
each other at home. We're not, it's just because it's not lip service or anything like that. It's just like, oh, thank you for making me a cup of tea or a coffee or getting me a drink or doing this for me or
Yeah.
doing that for me. And that level of appreciation and gratitude, you can then spread into all areas of your life. And as you're coming into the community that you highlighted, that I'd mentioned, and to sort of expand upon that, you know, Park Run, it's a global phenomenon now, really, isn't it? I think it's in most countries in the
Yeah.
world. And I've been going to Park Run for, I think, since about 2018. So is that about six years, or did I start in 2017? I can't remember now. However, I'm coming up to about 170 park runs I've done. And since we've relocated, we've very much got involved in, I don't know why in this area particularly, but we get involved and we volunteer and I write the reports and Gareth will sometimes do the barcode scanning and different things. But the community of people there, when you do volunteer or whether you take part or whatever you do, because there is a community there and it's accessible to everybody because it's free. And you're usually in parkland, and then again, being out in nature is so good for your health and well-being. Exercise and movement
Yeah.
is so good for your well-being. When you volunteer, you fill yourself full of the good stuff. When I've volunteered before and been a marshal, you're clapping people along, going, "Yeah, come on." inadvertently, you're filling yourself with the good stuff as well. And I've just
Yes.
answered a shout out to give a volunteer, somebody who would normally run, but she's had an operation, so she can't run and she can't drive, and she's in the village. So we took her last week, and she was a funnel manager. And I've just had, before we've come on to record today, a shout out from one of the run directors saying, "Can you give Jenna a lift again?" I'm going, "Yeah, absolutely," because literally, she's in the village. Why wouldn't we? And she's volunteer, and through doing that, we've made a new friend locally. It just keeps on going. And when you have that approach, your life becomes happier too, doesn't it, Christine?
Yes. Yeah, it does. It does really. Because kindness, happiness, smiles, everything we said at the beginning is contagious. You do something for someone, they will do something good for someone else. They will probably do something good for you, which is not the reason why you're doing it,
Yeah.
but it's just spreading that, being kind to yourself as well. You
Mhm.
mentioned that at the beginning, listening to your how you're speaking to yourself. And sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't speak to myself." Thoughts is speaking to
Mhm.
yourself. If you're having thoughts, you're speaking to yourself. So everyone speaks to themselves, and be aware of how you speak to yourself and try to turn it around into something positive. If
Mhm.
it's not, that will really help as well. And that will also reflect in how you speak with others, and being really kind.
Mhm.
Kind is really important.
Oh, it is, and you just said being kind to yourself, because if you're not kind to yourself, how can you be kind? How can you radiate that outwards? And if you are actually radiating it outwards and not looking after yourself, then you can get to the point of feeling frustrated, because you'll then feel like you're being taken advantage of, but you're not, because you're giving it all away. And I know, because I've been there myself. My overdone strength was, I think I used to probably be a bit of a people pleaser, but I used to want to keep the balance, the equilibrium, and I'd never really sort of took enough time for myself. And I was always
Mm.
busy, trying to make sure everybody else was okay. And then I'd feel, oh, all right. But actually, you've got to do the work on yourself, haven't you? You really have.
Yes.
And
Yes, you have.
it is so important. And I love what you do, because with your sort of startup, you're really supporting people at the start of their journey, but that incorporates not just work, because you're dealing with them as they start their journeys in life, and that impacts. I mean, I'm a great believer. Your personal and professional are intertwined. I mean, people always used to say back in the day, "Oh, you leave your personal life when you walk in the office at work." But you're human. We're not robots, are we? We're not just sort of being sort of disconnected and reconnected. You've got that emotion within you. So it's about getting that balance and aligning and working with where your talents and your passions are, and connecting all of that with your career, because wherever you are, whatever you're interested in, there's always going to be a career or an organization or something related to it. And like you support people on their
Yeah.
entrepreneur journey, you can help them make that a big reality, can't you?
Yes, yeah, it is. And they're so full of passion, and they usually want to have a specific impact, and they want
Mhm.
to earn their thing with something that they're passionate about, that they love, that
Mhm.
makes them happy. So that is, in a way, all the work I'm doing is to support that happiness in someone's life, and my own, because their joy, their
Mhm.
happiness, their positive energy rubs off on me when I work with them. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's great. It's a bit like when I'm working with my coaching clients, sort of helping them on their journey, and holding that space for them to look at and explore all the different things that are coming up for them that might be blocking them moving forward business wise, or the business might be impacting the personal. And you look at it, you explore it, you're curious, you sort of work out what it is and how to. You've mentioned about looking at things in a different way, reframing, that is so powerful. Looking at what's
Yes,
there and exploring options. I've just recorded, in fact, it's just gone out on this morning of recording this one, sort of, when you are wanting to make decisions, trusting your gut instinct. I say I've recorded a podcast episode about making decisions based on your instinct, but equally so you need to do research sometimes and
mm,
inquire and have conversations before you can make that decision, which again you need to trust your gut instinct on, which all sort of kind of all wraps into one about following your flow, which is really so important. I mean, we live in a completely different culture these days, don't we, to the one that has gone before, but there's still so much change that is taking place because some organizations are still sort of stuck too many centuries ago, I think, in their sort of approach to work. But when you yeah, when you tap into people's talents and passions, you're connecting with their energy. And when you've got that energy, you get a greater charge, you get more excitement out of people and a better return on investment if you're an employer.
Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah. So did you start out? I'm just curious, did you start out on the marketing? Is that what you did before you became self-employed, Christine?
Yes, so I worked in marketing and advertising for about
Mm.
30 years before I said, it's not giving me this lovely feeling
Hmm.
because you're going from one project to the next, or I have multiple projects going on at the same time,
Mm.
all important. My clients were great, colleagues were great, but it wasn't giving me fulfillment
Hmm.
to do a brochure, an app, a website, whatever. So I trained as an NLP practitioner, and then they offered coaching, and I was like, okay, what's coaching? So I did coaching training. I got certified in disc profiling. Now I'm doing another certification in Lego series play, which will be lovely.
Oh, is that when you say Lego, do you mean actually Lego?
Yes, so basically you use Lego, and they actually sell packs for those sessions, and you can use them for coaching sessions and for all kind of things
Hmm.
that people need to work on. So on values, on vision, and they start building. Usually, if you work in a team, for example, everyone builds their own, and then they show it to the rest of the group, and then they all are different, and then you need to basically build one that combines all of them together or something. So yesterday, also in the workshop, we used it, and they were supposed to put their customer together.
Hmm.
So it's interesting stuff. You can use that in leadership development, whatever, and it's a playful way to and a bit different way to do things. So
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. I mean, I had Lego as a child, and then my son had Lego. But I have to say, I was never, although I am quite a creative person, I never really was able to create much with Lego. You know, do the wall.
yeah,
But you know, if I was following a program, you know, obviously the sets that you can get. I mean, back in the day, they weren't. I say back in the day when I was young, because I'm nearly
yeah.
60 now.
Also me.
Yeah. I remember having a little dressing table set that was just, you know, it was really tiny and it came in a small box and it was that really exciting. And I don't think there were I mean, the sets that are available these days are phenomenal because they do them in association with like Star Wars and superheroes and all sorts of things. And
Yeah.
then, you know, but I remember having anything that we did have that would be made, then it would be broken down and put into the box. So then you've lost the instructions. So it's only.
Yes, I've been to the Lego store the other day,
Mhm.
not this, but for just because we were there and there was one, and they really have amazing things that we didn't have. But there was one set specifically that if it wouldn't be extraordinarily expensive, I would probably get it because it's almost 4,000 pieces and it's
Wow.
Home Alone. It's a home.
Okay.
So you build the house,
Yeah.
then you have the little you have the two robbery guys, then you have Kevin, and
Mhm.
then you have the tree house outside, and then you connect it all. It's massive as well. Um, yeah, but obviously,
Gosh.
first of all, when would you do that? And the price is just not justifiable, but it's amazing they have.
You can also get your own avatars done in Lego figures as well, can't you? Now I
Yes,
saw that because I was trying to inquire. I was trying to look into it and work it out, and I don't know. I must have lost my flow on that one, but because I never did get one. But fascinating. Oh, that's really interesting. So you now bring all that together and all the things that you do from
yes,
yeah working with your business and workshops and writing and everything like that. So
yeah, yes,
oh wow. So really inspiring stuff, Christine. So if anybody was interested in talking to you and finding out more, how do they find you? Where are you? Where are you? I mean, we'll put the details in the comment on the podcast on YouTube too, below, but where and how can people find you? And what can you offer them? Can you expand a little bit further so that they know what they could reach out to you for?
yeah. So I think the easiest would be to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So you LinkedIn, you can put that link in, but it's like slash Christine the coach.
Hmm.
That's the URL in there. So linkedin.com/in dot Christine the coach. And there you find also all my websites and things like that, of course. Yeah, like I mentioned, I have two businesses. So if you're starting out, I usually work with entrepreneurs in the first 3 years of their journey.
Mhm.
So a bit overwhelmed with everything that's involved. How do they go about it? So I make it quite simple and break it down. They can either join the Creative Startup Academy. There's even a free version that they can
Mm.
join. They get a lot out of it. And then I have my other company, like I mentioned, Let's Talk, that's working really with bigger organizations and supporting them with their leadership skills and team setup. Yeah, I think that would be it.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much. It's been great. I love it when we have chance to talk.
Yeah,
It's fab because it's always uplifting, it's always upbeat. And as we said, folks, you know what? Find your tribe, find the people around you, find the people that raise you up, not the ones that pull you down, not the radiators that drain you, because it's exhausting. And we've all
yeah,
had people like that in our lives. And it's or if you need to spend time with them, just limit that time. But if you've got people around you pulling you down, it's not good for your own energy, and actually colluding with them and allowing them to pull you down isn't helping, and not teaching them much either on that journey, because it
no,
sort of indicates that it's okay and it's not. But it's not about being nasty to them. It's just about, you know, managing your time and who you spend it with, because time, as we know, is one thing that you can never get back. So use it wisely.
no,
And thank you, in terms of using it wisely, thank you for using it wisely and listening to this this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have, and I'm sure as much as Christine has. And please do get in touch with myself, connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn as is Christine, and or go to sarahjnaylor.com. And yeah, please do connect with us both. Thank you, Christine, again so much for being a fabulous guest. It's always a pleasure to chat to you. And thank you all for listening. So this has been Sarah Naylor for Harnessing Happiness. And have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye.
bye.